Today on Mid-Missouri Art News here at JCTV Studios in Jefferson City, Missouri, we visit with Mrs. Jan Sonnenberg of Jefferson City, Missouri, who will be sharing her world of art with you. Welcome to JCTV Mid-Missouri Art News, supported by many art enthusiasts, now worldwide, thanks to YouTube, coming to you from the capital city of Missouri, that's Jefferson City, Missouri. I'm your host, Rick Jey, and I proudly turn to our guest today, Mrs. Jan Sonnenberg from Jefferson City, Missouri. Welcome to JCTV Mid-Missouri Art News, Janice.
Well, thank you for having me today.
Well, great, great. I've been looking forward to this time for a while now, as it's been on the, shall we say, on the schedule of my expectations. And well, please then, if we may, we'll turn to Jan, if I may call you by your first name.
That's fine.
All right. Please share with us, the viewers, a little bit about Janice Sonnenberg.
Well, thank you. I was born on a farm near Alva in northwest Oklahoma, and it was a very small town, and I went to a very small Lutheran elementary school, just 2 rooms, and so for my first 8 years, I really didn't have any art until the 7th grade. I remember the first time I ever had art, and I was so excited about it. But I remember deciding before I left grade school that I wanted to do something important with my life, and for me, that's just working with people and helping people.
Excellent.
And so I decided I was going to get a degree in social work, which I went to college in Valparaiso University in Indiana.
Indiana, I see.
Then I graduated with a degree in social work, and more importantly, I met my husband, Gary, the love of my life. Excellent. There. And we moved shortly thereafter to his home state of Pennsylvania, where I worked for a while in social work. But pretty quickly, our first son was born.
I see.
And then 2 years later, he worked for Westinghouse, so we moved to Jefferson City when Westinghouse opened a plant in 1971, and we've been here ever since.
Oh my! So you've around Jefferson City since 1971. So you've seen it grow.
Yeah.
And many different governors and
that is true.
Politicians.
And I had another son shortly after that, and did a lot. I started working in art at that time, but in 1978, I took a job as the first manager of Heisinger Lutheran Home.
I see.
And I worked at that job for 26 years.
My.
And I always thought that I'd do a lot of painting when I caught up, but I never caught up with that job. So it went from a very small little, well, it wasn't little, but a mansion, an old kind of rundown mansion.
Yes.
And to the sprawling 4 levels of care that it has today.
That's High Singer
High
here
Singer.
in Jefferson City.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks will know you from those days, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
from another lifetime, sort
From
of.
another lifetime. Yes, when we reach a certain age, it seems like the other life.
Yeah.
That's, I
Yeah.
can understand. Great. Uh-huh.
So it was, and I will always be thankful for that opportunity to work there and to watch it grow. And it was a good time in my life.
Excellent.
But I always wanted to do art, and so that was coming.
Uh-huh.
So I was inspired to become an artist. It was a little different for me than for most people in that I never knew anyone that was an artist.
I see.
And I didn't do a lot of painting or drawing as a child until I was in the 7th grade. And I had a teacher who taught us about perspective and color theory and gave us assignments to be drawing.
Excellent.
And I found out I really loved it and that I was pretty good at it, surprisingly.
Oh, I see.
And so that was when I first started getting interested in art. But I
Now-
didn't take much art in school.
I see.
Or-
Now, that person, would you like to give us that name in case some of her relatives?
Oh, well, it was
and
a him.
What city was
it?
Was a him?
It was Mr. Markshausen
I see. And that was in Oklahoma?
in Oklahoma.
In 7th
and
grade?
In 7th grade.
And the name of the school?
It was Zion Lutheran School.
Yeah.
So I was very thankful for what he did to get me started into art, but I don't even remember his first name. I never called him by his first name.
Yes, respectfully, I guess.
I guess so.
So that was when you basically became inspired. So then basically your life changed naturally, other duties. And then what was your moment then of being re-inspired or finally finding the time to meet with your passion that you felt inside, so many of artists do?
Yes, as soon as I was out of college, and when I was living in Pennsylvania, I took a course through the Park Board. And I had a teacher there that also really inspired me. He asked me to ask everyone to just bring something along to paint, but I missed that. So when I got there, I didn't have anything to paint. So he let me use one of his sketches that he had done.
I see.
And so I just painted away and had a good time. And he was so impressed by what I did. He said, I've been working my whole life to have that kind of freedom in painting. And here you've done it the first time you ever tried to paint a picture.
My.
So that was really inspiring and to me, but really the reason that I had so much freedom is I didn't know what color anything was. It was just a black and white.
So you was totally free because you wasn't tied down to
I didn't know
color
it.
theory so much. You had the basis foundation. But there's a part of us, Jan, the guest, not to interrupt your delivery, but as part of us, we even talked about some of the artists that's been on the show. We think that we have this sort of a gene that might even go back, if you look back even to the days of the caveman. And we talk about the caveman painting on the walls of the cave, which we've seen, the hieroglyphics, and basically probably making an agreement with the hunters. You go out and do the kills, I'll draw all these pictures on the wall, and maybe I can inspire you, and maybe I can earn a little bit of that food that's going to be served later in the evening.
Well, it was,
so it's
it was a great surprise to me that I was able to do
like
it.
in your DNA, or
I guess
we
I don't
could
know,
say.
but I enjoyed it. It was fun. Then after we moved to Jefferson City, I took further lessons with Jane Carroll, who is the teacher who has since moved away.
I see, Jane Carroll.
Yeah, and I also took some classes from Lincoln.
Oh, excellent.
In drawing and watercolor. So that was when I really started to love watercolor.
I see, yes, and your art, as we show in the timeline here, speaks well for you. I'm just so impressed, and I've been wanting to be a part of the show to share this passion and your skills. Well, Jan, you are the featured artist now with the Jefferson City Art Club on their website for a period of January 27th through March 9th. And we'll be exhibiting your works at the Department of Motor Vehicle offices on the southern edge of Jefferson City during this period, as we're actually discussing. Can you fill us in on what and when the next sponsored exhibit will be from the Jefferson City Art Club as a spokesperson for them today? I know
certainly.
you are a member now and well endorsed, shall we say.
Event is the Ruth Hogan Children's Art Exhibit, and it's going to be from March 14th to the 23rd at the Capitol Arts exhibit area.
And the children from the different elementaries
All
up to
of the elementary.
Their teachers organize painting day or whatever.
They can bring as many as 35 from each class.
School, and those will be gathered up and then hung at Capitol Arts.
Right.
And then an exhibit will begin the next day, I believe it is. I believe it's hung on like a Sunday or Saturday, and then that next day the show begins.
That's true.
And it's remarkable. I'm a part of that committee. I like to help out and hang and take down. It's just remarkable, some of the artwork that one can see with these young students. So I'm always inspired by that. Can you tell us what Jefferson City Art Club maybe means to you as a member? It's like a family. It's been around for 116 years now.
Well, I have enjoyed going to art club, and it's wonderful to get to know other people that love art. And I enjoy just the process of painting, and I enjoy the people there and getting to know them. They have become friends.
And they have a presenter every month on the third Monday of each month. They meet at 5:30 at the Hawthorne Bank Center there in Jefferson City. Well, Jan, we must take a short break, and so hang loose a few seconds. When we come back, Janice shares more in detail of her process and her loves of different types of color theory, what have you. So stay with us. There's a lot more right here on Mid-Missouri Art News. We'll be right back. Welcome back to JCTV's Mid-Missouri Art News as we continue our discussion with artist Jan Sonnenberg from Jefferson City, Missouri, who will get into more detail of how she looks at a project, those types of color theories and what have you. More a technical look for those art enthusiasts or art lovers here in the mid-Missouri art area, art region, should we say. I'm your host, Rick Jey, and as we turn back to Janice, you shared a lot in the first half, the first segment, and surely you've gained the attention of our viewers here on Mid-Missouri Art News. So your work is so outstanding, as we're showing on the timeline, and we want to learn more. So I'd like to ask you, Jan, please share with the viewers the process that you must go through to complete a project. How do you come up with the idea? Do you sketch first, etc.? Go ahead and see.
Well, I look for, as I go through the normal day, I just look for the beautiful things that God has created.
Yes.
And I try to think of how I can present them best so that other people see that as well. I have a great advantage in that my husband, Gary, is a great photographer. So sometimes he sees things and he says, what about this? And,
yes.
Or sometimes I see something and ask him to take a picture.
I see.
And try to go from there. But I never really follow the picture exactly. I learned that from that first teacher that I had, that I really didn't need the photographer, the photograph.
Right.
I just needed to have the idea that
the idea,
represented.
suggestion.
Yeah.
That's the way with me. I tell people that once I can see various pictures, but then all of a sudden it comes together in my mind. And there it is.
Yeah.
Whatever's in the mind and I feel in the heart that I want to share, then that's what I try to display on the canvas, or in your case, the water page.
Yeah, it helps me to do a couple sketches to find,
so you do
choose the best one, most of the time. Not
Excellent.
always, but most of the time I do.
All right. I wondered how you'll come up with your ideas and stuff. So having Gary as the photographer, that helps, and having something to look at. Well, what's your favorite medium? Now, there's different types. Your medium and your forte, I guess we say, is watercolor.
Well, I started out in oil, and I still do oils at times.
Yes.
I tried acrylic, but I just didn't like the colors, the depth of the colors as well in acrylic. So what I ended up doing with acrylic was use so much water that they became watercolors.
Oh, I see.
And then I decided, well, I might as well do watercolors.
Oh,
so
excellent.
And watercolor is what I do most often.
Right.
I really do love watercolor.
Excellent. And it shows in your work. We're going to talk about some of your artworks as we show them on the timeline you describe them. I want to dig a little bit deeper now. What would you say, is your favorite subject matter? Do you really feel more enthused doing landscapes or portraits or, should we say, still objects?
Well, it's whatever I really just love to look at. And sometimes, when I was a young mother, that was my children.
Yes.
I loved painting them. I also love painting my grandchildren. I probably painted them more than anything.
Right.
And when I paint of any kind of subject, I just kind of fall in love with it. It makes me really slow down and look at that and really enjoy it. It's kind of almost like some people has the same function as meditation, because I focus so much on that beautiful thing that I'm looking at that time just kind of falls away.
Which is rewarding, relaxing, and therapeutic. A lot of people paint from a therapeutic, and they say we do paint from the right side. It takes our total thought process away from all the frontage and all the back, that is the daily workings, into a place within our being, our mind, our mental, heart, mind, the same as they say, through we learn through our faith. So it's like you bring that all together in your own space and your own time. I can identify with that, and I think many of our artists can also. Now, would you like to say hello to your grandchildren?
Oh, I would. I'd love to say hello to Nolan and Hayden and Lainey.
Lainey, excellent, excellent. And I've seen, again, your works we're going to talk about. Can you tell us some of your favorites? Now, we'll show many as through our discussion, but do you have your favorites that you, and if you can, share with us the reason behind being a favorite? I'm sure the grandchildren come first.
Yeah, that's true. Well, first there were the children. Actually, the first oil that I ever entered into the Jefferson City exhibit was a portrait of my two sons, and I got a first on that.
Oh, excellent, yes.
That was in 1973.
My.
But then there was a long, long time before I ever entered again.
And now you're active with this.
Yes.
So that's a favorite of yours.
That is a
and
favorite.
And what are some of the others that you'd like to talk about that we can flash up on the timeline?
Well, I went through a phase where I really liked Westphalia. And I did like 4 or 5 pictures of Westphalia. I loved the way the old buildings were. I had a picture that had chickens in it, and the old mill. I haven't been to Westphalia for a long time. I don't know if those things are still there. But it was from a long time ago. I love that. And then I really love trees. I painted trees in many different ways.
Yes.
And flowers. I love flowers, especially wildflowers, the little ones that just pop up all by themselves out in the woods.
Right. Yeah, it kind of bring us up and give us a kiss every morning. Whatever those out there that just kind of come up on their own. No one really plans them.
Yeah,
but, I understand. That's what art reaches us in that sort of a loving, caressing way through Mother Nature, and so I can identify. Well, super. I guess I should. Well, do you have any planned exhibits that where our viewers can, besides the DMV on the south end of the Jefferson City right now, Department Motor Vehicle? What, you have other
The Ranch Conservation Nature Center has an exhibit in May and June that I'm hoping to have several of my wildflower pictures in that exhibit.
Right. Now that's the project that I put together and been invited back this year. We showed in 2018, we had 62 artists. This time we're looking at approximately, we have a possibility of 108 artists and well known throughout Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Jan has been invited to that. So that's called Call for Nature's Art, and it has to be of a nature or conservation theme. And so we'll be looking forward to your entry to that Call to Nature's Art.
There's
May and June.
Another, the Halo organization is having an auction on March the 6th. Okay. And I am going to have a painting in that auction. I and a lot of other people.
Yes.
But that's an organization I strongly support, and I've
supported that with past pieces that I've let them put up for auction and hope it helps out with their cause. Now we have shows coming up with Jefferson City Art Club with the fine artists in the fall. We have the adult art exhibit coming up, I believe in the spring, and we shown at the venue Capitol Arts. Will you be also entering pieces in those?
Yes, I will. A lot of my most recent pieces are things from places that I've traveled and that sort of thing. So I really like bringing back and ideas for art whenever I travel.
Well, we're getting close on time, so just about out of time. But so on behalf of JCTV and me personally, I want to thank you so much for contributing to Mid-Missouri Art News. It's making it a learning experience and an informational experience for everyone. Do you have any closing words for the artists or for those viewers that are worldwide now?
Well, just I guess for me, it's just so important to paint what you love, and that might be, I know that's different for everyone, yes. But I think it shows when you see the painting. If you can understand what someone really cares about from that painting, then I think it's a good painting. So
when you're painting and you want to exhibit it or show it, that's what you feel inside that you want to share with that fellow human being, whether it be here in mid-Missouri or in China, as the show goes, Brazil, Argentina, Russia, recently being invited personally to Italy, Tuscany for a 10-day residency. So again, you're reaching out to people with what you want to share from the heart. Again, thank you for being here. Thanks for inviting me. Well, thank you, viewers, for watching. A special thanks to our producer, Glory Enlow and crew. So keep it tuned if you can. JCTV, Mid-Missouri Art News. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube. I'm Rick Jey saying, see you next time.